What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Cigars and Whiskey for our next review. As you can see, I'm not in the shop today. I'm in my Arizona bunker because everybody being quarantined means I get to be at home, which is kind of good but kind of bad. But with that said, we're going to go ahead and review today a cigar I reviewed a few years back. I wanted to go back and revisit the cigar, see if there was something different that I would notice that I didn't get in the first review. And that cigar is the CAO MX2, and this is the 6x60 Gordo. Now this cigar is featuring a Connecticut Broadleaf Maduro wrapper. The binder is Brazilian, and then the filler is actually a combination of 4 different places. It's Peruvian, Nicaraguan, Honduran, and Dominican. But with that said, man, you can see it is a darker cigar, and I would give the strength profile on this cigar a little more of a high medium to a mid full, just depending. Again, when I give those observations, it's based on my palate. I smoke a lot of full strength cigars, so with it being a full strength cigar, to me, may be way overboard on others. So when I say that, be very cautious on what you're willing to try. Some of the stuff that people call full strength, I don't call full strength, I call it real mild. But it just all depends on your palate, and it depends on how many you've had that day, if you smoke multiple cigars, if you only have one cigar, if you've drank something, if you've eaten something. Remember, it's all based on that. But with that said, we're going to go ahead and get into the pre-draw of the CAO MX2. Alright guys, into the pre-draw. We're going to go ahead and cut it up with a straight cutter right now. We're just going to snip the top off. Now the question is asked from time to time, how should I cut the cigar? Should I do a straight cut? Should I do a punch? Should I do a V-cut? Again, folks, it all depends on what you like. I suggest, just for a rule of thumb, you can't go wrong with a straight cutter of any size. With this being a 8x80 ring gauge cutter, basically you can cut everything out there. There are some that just aren't made for that. You know, I suggest smaller flavored cigars if they're under a 56 that you may want to V-cut them. It just all depends. If I know it's going to be a real firm cigar like this one is, and it's not very spongy to the touch, it's more of a real tight roll, then I would suggest a straight cutter. There's even out there some other don't mind me, I'm just adjusting camera distance here. There is even, there's other tools and things. There's the Perfect Draw, which is a tool that loosens tobacco up. Again, it just depends on the cigar. Again, you're going to get a factory of multiple rollers. One guy might roll tighter than the other guy, and one guy might be really loose compared to somebody else. Just what you got to deal with. But we're going to go ahead and get into the review with the pre-draw. You do get a very decent draw on that straight cut off of the 6x60. I am getting that Maduro profile. With Brazilian, I get a little more of a cracked pepper cocoa profile automatically. But because there is that Honduran, the Dominican, and the Nicaraguan all together in there with the Peruvian, I am getting just a hint of what I would call a graham cracker profile. And for those who've watched other reviews that I've done, the Peruvian tobacco does have that quality that, to me, it tastes like graham crackers. So when I taste that in there, I know that is definitely Peruvian tobacco. With that said, let's go ahead and light it up and see what happens. Now with that, you may have noticed that I rotate the cigar clockwise, counterclockwise as I'm lighting. You'll want to get an even char. You'll get arguments on how close the flame is to how far away. I am about right there. Any closer, it burns. If any far away, it doesn't seem like it's lighting. It's just, again, preference. As you get better at it, you'll get easier to understand what you like and how you like it smoked. I am getting a good draw. It is not a real loose draw, but it isn't a real packed draw. It's kind of like in the middle. You do got to give it a little bit of a puff to get something going, but it's not an easy, quick draw. And the smoke is fairly low. I am getting an early, real earthy profile on that first draw. Getting a little bit of a sweetness on the back of the palate as you exhale and you're in between draws. A little bit of a bittered cocoa coming through, and I am getting off of the smoke itself, just inhaling the smoke, just a slight little spiciness, like almost like a cinnamon candy. But with that said, we're going to keep going through it. I'll be back right after this with the second third of our CAO MX2. All right, everybody, back with the second third of our review of the CAO MX2. And the second third, we're starting to notice that pepper profile is kind of is going away. It's more of a cocoa now. I'm getting more of like, there is like a wood oak profile on the back of the palate, like an aftertaste. And the cigar smoke seems to get a little more creamy than it was before. It just lingers a little bit longer in the mouth, like after you had drank some either really high whole milk or even milk with a lot of milk fat in it. But as you can see, it is holding up pretty good. It isn't razor sharp burn, but again, you know, it might correct itself, so we'll let it go and see what happens. But I'll keep smoking through it. We'll be back right after this with our final thirds and our final thoughts after this. All right, everybody, in the final third of our review of the CAO MX2, we're getting a little more of that pepper profile. It's come back in the final third, and I apologize, I'm having issues with my umbrella with the wind. So if you see my hand go up, that's why I'm doing it. But with that said, we're getting a little more oakiness in the cigar, a little more than it was before. But again, getting a little more of that bold pepper profile. There is a little bit of sweetness to it, but not much. And as you can see, it is burning, but it isn't burning razor sharp. It is starting to canoe a little bit. But I'm going to see if it corrects itself as I get through it. But all in all, if you haven't had any of the CAO cigar line, I suggest you try some of those. Again, I have done this review. It was done years ago, so you can go back on my YouTube channel, look at some of the old videos, and see if it compares the same or different. But with that said, I hope you have a great day. Have a great smoke. Hit that like and subscribe button, and always have a great day, and we'll see you next time.